This video is brought to you by Kingpin Productions, bringing you quality entertainment since, today actually. Let's proceed with our programming, everyone. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another amateur figure review. I know it's been a while since my last review, which was a few months ago. I sort of lost motivation for a while, but now I'm back with another figure review. This time, the Hasbro Marvel Legends Silver Centurion Iron Man. This was a Walgreens exclusive, but I got it at a collectible shop for $25 a few months ago. I'd say this figure is definitely worth that price. My last two reviews have been of the Marvel Legends figures brought to us by the company Toy Biz. If you haven't seen those, I'd recommend checking them out. But this is by Hasbro, the company who took over after Toy Biz and is still making Marvel Legends to this day, for better or for worse in terms of pricing. Anyways, this Iron Man is his look from the 80s comics, the Silver Centurion armor, which is one of the most unique Iron Man looks due to it having big shoulder pads and replacing the gold that was on most costumes with silver. But without further ado, let's get on to the articulation of this guy. Let's start with the head right at the top. Now, this figure's head can move 180 degrees, but the head is connected to the neck on a ball joint, which allows it to wobble around like this. It can also move forward this much, and move backwards this much. Wait. I feel like this neck joint is both a positive in some ways and a negative in some ways. Because, on one hand, the positive, it makes for some really dynamic and unique poses. But, on the other hand, the up and down on the figure isn't the best. Now, for the arms, they can raise a little less than 90 degrees because of the shoulder pad. They also move all the way around. It has the forearm twist and double jointed elbows, which move up to about here. It also has a hand that can spin all the way down and move forward and back. Now, for the torso, it has a traditional ab crunch, which can go forward this far and go backwards this far. It also has a joint at the waist, which allows it to spin around. Next, down to the legs. Let's move this arm out of the way. And they can kick this far, about 90 degrees. They don't go back far, but they can get a pretty decent split. There's also this thigh cut right here. And, of course, double jointed knees. And it has joints in the feet, which allows it to go backwards, forwards, and it can pivot. Overall, mostly standard articulation except for the head. But there's a reason why it's standard. Because, well, I mean, it's simple yet effective. Now, one thing I need to mention quickly is that there's a bit of a possible painting error on mine. Let me show you. The paint on the arc reactor is slightly off, but it's not very noticeable, to be honest. In fact, I only noticed it just now, if that's anything to go off of. I feel like where this figure shines the best, and the Silver Centurion costume in general, is the detailing of it. Look at the way the shoulder pads are layered, the arc reactor, the neck piece, these straps that lead into this cooling backpack on the back, and it's really hard to see. You can actually see painted white in the eyes of the figure, which just makes it look that much cooler. But now, let's look at the accessories he came with. He came with 2 open hands here with these little holes. You may be wondering what they're for, but I'll tell you. This is a feature on just about every Marvel Legends Hasbro Iron Man, and these make room for repulsor effects, which just look really cool. Now, these are interchangeable hands instead of the finger articulation that the Toy Biz figures had, and in most cases, I feel like this works better, except in terms of larger figures where they were actually able to get their finger articulation really good. And another thing, these don't just attach to the hands. These also plug into little peg holes on the bottom of the feet, which allows it to look as if the figure's flying, which, when combined with some kind of flight stand maybe, I was planning to use this DC Multiverse one, but it's floppy and doesn't work very well, could make it look like he's flying. But there's another thing here. Let's see this Iron Man scaled with some other figures in the Marvel Universe. Here's Iron Man compared to the Retro Vision and Scarlet Witch, which are the sizes of the standard Marvel Legends body molds. Iron Man is a bit taller than them, which I feel like works due to him being in a suit of armor. But now that we've looked at the standard molds, let's move on to some unique ones. Here he is compared with some bigger modern body molds. On the left, we have the Retro Hercules, and on the right, we have the Deluxe Thanos with the King Thanos head. Both of these are at least a little bit taller than him in case of Hercules, and over a head taller than him in terms of Thanos, which I feel like works really well. For some slightly shorter characters, we have the Bonebreaker Brave Wave Wolverine with repainted gloves, shoulder pads, and boots, and the Amazing Fantasy, aka First Appearance Spidey with the gray repainted to be blue and the spider logo repainted. Overall, I feel like these also do scale well with the... Sorry, cut out for a second. I do believe both of these scale well with this Iron Man. Here he is with 2 Thor-themed body molds. On the left, we have the MCU Infinity Saga Endgame Thor. And on the right, we have the Endgame Smart Hulk Build-A-Fig Wave Beta Ray Bill. Both of these are taller than Tony, which makes sense. Here he is compared to the Marvel Legends 20th Anniversary Hulk on the right, and the Ursa Major Wave Ultron figure on the left. Ultron is about the same height as Iron Man, which makes sense, and Hulk is considerably larger, which definitely works. Speaking of the Hulk, here he is compared to the 2 figures I previously reviewed, the Toy Biz Marvel Legends Onslaught Series Green Goblin, and Toy Biz Hulk Classics War Hulk. Overall, I feel the Green Goblin is a bit short compared to modern Marvel Legends, but if you pose him on the glider, I feel like it'll work fairly well. And while the Hulk isn't as big, he certainly looks imposing, and you could fit him in. For some armored characters, here he is compared to the Marvel Select 7-inch Silver Centurion on the left, and the MCU Infinity Saga 2-pack Ironmonger on the right. I feel like at certain angles, you could maybe fit the Silver Centurion Iron Man into a display, but I guess it could make sense standing next to other figures since he's wearing a suit of armor. I do fairly like the massive shoulder pads of the Select, but the Ironmonger definitely fits a lot more with really any collection. I feel like it would be alright to slip him in even with your comic collection. Well, that is until they one day re-release that one comic Ironmonger Build-A-Fig with the Iron Man 3-wave. Hopefully they do that in the recent Retro Iron Man line. Let's keep our fingers crossed. And to compare him with my smallest Marvel Legends, which is the Deadpool 2-pack Hitmonkey, and my biggest, who won't even fit in the screen, which is the Marvel Universe Goliath 12-inch figure, well, here you go. Overall, both of these scale well. Hitmonkey's, well, a monkey, so the shortness makes sense, and Goliath is, well, an alternate identity used by Hank Pym, who is the original Ant-Man and was also Giant Man. So, yeah, his massive size definitely makes sense too. Anyways, even though this video was a little rough around the edges, I'm sure, it was still fun to make and a good return to form in terms of these videos. Now, you may have noticed I didn't include any Captain America figures. While I have the 20th anniversary Captain America, I'm going to give you a little hint for my planned next video. The next one's, while it may be related to him, it's not a review of the 20th anniversary Cap. Stay tuned, everyone. Stay tuned. Oh, and of course, have a happy Valentine's Day, everyone.